Hey, 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 Happy New Year and Happy Friday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. And I just remembered, I did not change the date. Hang on, gang. See, that's what happens when you're like, you're like, oh, I've been sitting around here waiting for the show to start. And all of a sudden, as soon as I started up, I'm like, oh, wait a second. Then I don't have the correct date. It'll only take a second, though. Because I had actually already set this up as a file, I just need to replace it. Bing, good. I think we're good now. Should change in just a second. Let's wait. Let's see. Drum roll. Ooh, here we go. It's gonna happen. Is it gonna be the right date? There we go. Hooray. Hey, what can I tell you? Whenever I'm off for a while, it always seems like things are screwy. Anywho, welcome aboard. Tonight is Friday, January 3rd, 2020. This is episode 417 of The Daily Dope. I'm your host, Jeff McAleer. Good to see everybody once again. And if this is the first time you've ever tuned in, let me point out, this is a very, very casual show, as you can tell already. And it's live, so you never know what's going to happen. We'll see if Pinky shows up to chime in tonight, too. Anyway, do want to mention, if you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. And if you do, don't forget, ring that little bell. It'll not only notify you of when the stream goes live within about a minute or so, it'll also tell you when I upload standalone videos, such as my 12 favorite board and card games of 2019, as well as my 12 favorite role-playing game releases of 2019, which I just posted yesterday. I was trying to get those out earlier, but anyway, and of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And tell a friend, tell two friends, tell three friends. So we have Dan from No Enemies here, who missed our last show, if I remember correctly. Kabuki Kid is hanging out. We got Beat Cafe, John Vogel. Good to see everybody. Hey, it's Friday night. I always appreciate when people pop in on a Friday night, because I don't usually expect too many people to be watching. So, because this is live, chat is available on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do pay attention to chat. And of course, if you'd like to say hello, or maybe you got a question or comment, by all means, chime in. I will respond. So, Dan from No Enemies here says, been waiting for days. Well, if Dan had seen the last episode, he'd have known wasn't going to be an episode till today. He had watched on Monday, but Dan was busy. Nah, I'm kidding. All right, so yes, Happy New Year, everyone. Good to see everybody. It is 2020. It's off to a pretty bizarre start, but I'm not going to kind of talk about news-related things. A little weird. Anyway, got a good dose of news today. Got quite a wide variety of different news pieces as well. Got a few other things that I'm going to share at the end of the show. Also, tell you what's coming up. I got some videos that are going to pop up this weekend as well. Just got some game releases that showed up too. So let's jump on into the news, because I've got a good amount of news today. So first off, this month is going to see the release of Aftershock, San Francisco, and Venice, as well as that game's first expansion from Stronghold Games. And here's the dope. The world has been hit with mega earthquakes. The worst destruction devastated San Francisco and Venice, Italy. It's time to rebuild and restore them to their former glory. Aftershock is an area control game from the designer of Ticket to Ride, Alan Moon, if I remember correctly. Players will spend money to acquire cards, which are used to increase population, build bridges, and determine where aftershocks occur. You will negotiate with other players in order to score areas. Players with the higher population in these areas will score points. Player with the most points at the end of the game wins. The city is bigger than ever in Aftershock District 6, that expansion, which brings all the strategic fun of Aftershock to 6 players and introduces a brand new board mechanic. Area tokens are randomly placed in different areas and bring new challenges and rewards to the meeples placed there. With new, unique effects, District 6 brings Aftershock to a whole new level and ensures no two games are alike. So are they insinuating that if you just play Aftershock, those games can be alike? I would hope not. Aftershock San Francisco and Venice is for 2 to 5 players. Ages 14 and up, plays in around 60 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $59.95. Aftershock District 6 does add that 6th player. It will carry an MSRP of $19.95. Both of these will arrive in stores on January 22nd. Nice. So Dan says, Alan Moon, he don't need no more money. Why keep designing? He should get into real estate. Yes, but not real estate in either San Francisco or Venice, because we know what's going to happen there, right? Yes, isn't it Alan R. Moon? I'll have to see if this if it's on that image that swings past. But I gotta be honest. I think Ticket to Ride's okay. I think maybe part of the problem is I've never actually won a game of Ticket to Ride. I have not played it tons, but I have played it against my best friend Elliot Miller. Hey, it's the first reference to Elliot so far in 2020. We know it won't be the last. But I was going to say that I don't know. There's for some reason I don't think it clicks in my head when I play it. I'm sure there's games out there for all of you that there's just 1 or 2 games that you've played, and for some strange reason, mechanically it does not click in your head. That's just one of them for me. I don't know why, but just thought I'd point that out. All right, moving right along. Coming in June is a new railroad game from Capstone Games. I've got the dope on Ride the Rails. No, we are not talking about cocaine. We are talking about a board game, a railroading board game. The station is jam-packed, full of excited people ready to ride the rails. Trains, yes, that's right. Mason is off to Chicago, Ashley to Denver, and Hunter is going all the way to San Francisco. The train arrives and passengers start detraining the sleeper cars, with the red-caped porters expertly loading their luggage onto the baggage carts. Enthusiastic travelers crowd the doors, anxiously anticipating their adventure, cruising across America in style. In Ride the Rails, you will invest in railroad companies, build railway tracks across the United States, and deliver passengers to as many cities as possible. Each round, a new railroad company is introduced to the game, and each railroad company has its own special placement rules. Deliver passengers to as many cities as possible to earn the most points. Be cautious in your travels, as shareholders of the railroads that you use will also earn points. Ride the Rails is for 3 to 5 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 60 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $39.99 when it pulls into the station this June. Cool. Now, I believe this is the second release in Capstone Games. I think it's called Iron Rail series. Irish Gauge, I believe, is the first one. Unfortunately, Capstone Games does not share a lot of images for their games. I'm not sure why. And it's kind of funny because even if you go to their website right now, I don't believe there's any info about Ride the Rails. So I tend to get a lot of my info from distributors. That's why I usually have sometimes, well, okay, about 80% of the time, I've got the exact release dates for things way before. In fact, there's times I've released news and actually had companies contact me asking me, where did you get that? And I was like, from a distributor. And they're like, that's not supposed to be public knowledge. Can you take that down? Pandasaurus Games just did that about, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I posted something about a game that they have coming out. They're like, please do us a favor, take that down. And interestingly enough, and it's kind of funny, I know I'm kind of pontificating, but hey, that's the way things are, right? It's a casual show. If you want to just game, you'd be watching something else. But I was going to say, it's not like I went to a secret location or something like that to get this news. I mean, there's a few different distributors that you can just certainly pop right onto the website and get the info. And it was funny. So I released the information about Pandasaurus Games, and then Eric Martin over on Board Game Geek a few hours later released the same information, and I noticed his was gone too. So it was kind of like, yeah, well, so much for beating everybody else to the punch, huh? So actually, Dan from No Enemies Here mentions that Catan doesn't click for him. You know what? I don't like Catan either. I'm one of these people, I know. People are going to burn me in effigy, but I am not a fan of Catan. It's all right. I mean, I won't refuse to play it. I'm also not a fan of Pandemic. Now I have not played anything outside of the original Pandemic, but I'm not a fan of games that play you as opposed to you playing them. I don't like to just always be reacting to things. I like to be proactive in my gaming. So anyway, all right, moving right along. We're going to jump into some RPG news. I'm going to take a sip here because we've got the April releases for Paizo Inc. for Pathfinder and Starfinder. There's a good amount of stuff. So I'm going to take a sip. If you have no interest in Pathfinder or Starfinder, you might want to go have a sandwich. Go make yourself a cocktail, relax, go, take a walk for about a mile, because it's a lot of news. Anyway, a great day is here too. Good to see you, Gray Day. Thanks for joining us on Friday night. So let's jump into the April releases from Paizo. Here's a dope. Let's start off with the Pathfinder Bestiary 2 in hardcover. With more than 350 classic and brand new monsters, this 320-page hardcover rulebook greatly expands on the foes found in the Pathfinder Bestiary. From classic creatures like Serpent Folk and Jabberwock, returning favorites like the Primal Dragons or the Sandpoint Devil, to brand new menaces sure to test even the bravest of heroes, this must-have tome of monsters designed to challenge characters of any level is an essential companion to your Pathfinder game. The Pathfinder Bestiary 2 includes more than 350 monsters drawn from mythology, genre classics, and more than a decade of Pathfinder, with plenty of new monsters too. Gorgeous, full-color illustrations on nearly every page. Detailed monster lists sorted by level, type, and rarity to help you find the right monster for any situation. Universal monster rules to simplify special effects, defenses, and qualities like grab, swallow whole, yum yum, and regeneration. Detailed lore sidebars offering additional information about even more of Pathfinder's most popular monstrous friends and foes. This is going to carry an MSRP of $49.99. There is the aforementioned deluxe edition that will be available for $69.99. Then we have the Pathfinder Adventure Path number 154, which is part 4 of 6 of the Extinction Curse Adventure Path, and it is Siege of the Dinosaurs. Spoilers! Come on! The heroes and their circus arrive in Willowside, a swamp community. It's like, yeah, welcome to swamp, everybody. Yeah, love having a circus in town. A swamp community in dire need of diversion from the relentless expansion of the blighted land known as the Welt. Willowside soon experiences a problem of a different sort as monster-riding Zolgoths blockade the town. The heroes mount the defense of the village and learn what has brought the Zolgoths to this isolated settlement. When the heroes break the siege, they learn that the Zolgoths follow a monstrous ex-slave, spoilers, and have forsaken their directive to assault a nearby Aeon tower. The tower's current occupants no more and put the heroes on the path to reach the fifth and final Aeon orb. Siege of the Dinosaurs is a Pathfinder adventure for 4 13th level characters. This adventure continues the Extinction Curse adventure path, a 6-part monthly campaign in which the heroes lead a traveling circus as they unravel a plot to eradicate all life from the islands of the Inner Sea. This volume also includes a gazetteer of the town of Willowside and lore about the inhabitants of the abysmal realm of Gluttondark, as well as new monsters and Zolgoth-themed rules. Each monthly full-color softcover Pathfinder Adventure Path volume, say that 5 times fast, contains an in-depth adventure scenario, stats for several new monsters, and support articles meant to give game masters additional material to expand their campaign. Pathfinder Adventure Path volumes use the Open Game license. Remember this is something new with 2nd edition that is pretty cool. And work both with the Pathfinder role-playing game and the world's oldest fantasy RPG. What could that possibly be? Tunnels and Trolls, right? D&D, baby. D&D. This will carry an MSRP of $24.99. Then we've got the Pathfinder Chase Cards deck. Whether you're the hunter or the hunted, Pathfinder Chase cards make your choices, during the pursuit matter. Each full-color card in this beautifully illustrated 55-card deck contains obstacles to overcome during your chase, from an angry barking dog to an imposing stone wall, each one using checks from the Pathfinder 2nd Edition role-playing game. Make the right check to overcome the obstacles and you might just catch your prey. But fail, and you might be left with a cold trail. Lay the cards down on your table to create the path of your chase, allowing you to track each character's progress and determine the die rolls needed to avoid or navigate unexpected dangers. Lay out a desperate pursuit through a crowded city, a dangerous race through hostile wilderness, and a nerve-wracking run through deadly ruins and abandoned buildings, or mix and match the cards to create a chase that moves through multiple regions. This will carry an MSRP of $12.99. The final Pathfinder release in April is the Pathfinder Flip Mat Bigger Ancient Dungeon. Kind of sounds generic, doesn't it? Some dungeons are older and greater than others. Each side of the flip mat features a different massive ancient dungeon. One side features an enormous and ancient dungeon sprawl on the edge of a volcano, while the other is an ancient mausoleum under a ruined city. Don't waste your time sketching when you could be playing. I do agree with that. I'll talk about my mapping. I like my players to map, maybe after the news here. With Pathfinder Flip Mat, Bigger Ancient Dungeon, you'll be ready next time your players want to delve deep into the ancient past with all its dangers. Pathfinder Flip Mat Bigger Ancient Dungeon measures 27 by 39 inches, which gives you 45% more gaming space than the standard Pathfinder Flip Mat. On tabletops across the world, the Flip Mat revolution is changing the way players run their fantasy role-playing games. Why take the time to sketch out ugly scenery on a smudgy plastic mat when dynamic encounters and easy cleanup is just a flip away? This will carry an MSRP of $19.99. Actually, I should mention, as far as like having my players map for like fantasy role-playing games, I'll only talk about it if you guys want me to. Otherwise, you'd be like, what are you talking about this for? Who cares? All right, we got two Starfinder releases in April. We've got part 3 of the threefold conspiracy. It is Starfinder Adventure Path number 27, Deceiver's Moon. On their voyage through space back to the Pact Worlds, the heroes and their new steward allies begin to realize disturbing gaps in their recent memory, missing moments of lost time replaced with dreamlike impressions of imprisonment, surgery, and shadows. They were abducted by aliens. A steward's base on a fiery moon of the gas giant Bretheta seems to offer respite, I should say. Why did I say respite? Duh! Let's try that again. A steward's base on a fiery moon of the gas giant Bretheta seems to offer respite from paranoia and pursuit, but unseen enemies lurk even in the hearts of the system's most powerful institutions, and the web of alien conspiracy enshrouds all of the Pact Worlds. Deceiver's Moon is a Starfinder role-playing game adventure for 4 5th-level characters. This adventure continues the threefold conspiracy adventure path, a 6-part monthly campaign in which the heroes unravel the machinations of insidious aliens who have infiltrated galactic society. This book also includes an article describing the insidious reptoids, a catalog of starships used by the unseen, and a selection of new monsters, including cryptids from the Starfinder setting. Each monthly full-color softcover Starfinder Adventure Path volume, say that 5 times fast, contains a new installment of a series of interconnected science fantasy quests that together create a fully developed plot of sweeping scale and epic challenges. Each 64-page volume of the Starfinder Adventure Path also contains in-depth articles that detail and expand the Starfinder campaign setting and provide new rules, a host of exciting new monsters and alien races, new planet to explore and starship to pilot, and more. This will carry an MSRP of $22.99. I want to say, I'm glad to see now that the Starfinder Adventure Paths, I think this is the first time there's been a 6-part adventure path. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure. And our final Paizo release for April is the Starfinder Pawns Box Attack of the Swarm collection. Key aliens and NPCs from the Attack of the Swarm adventure path come alive on your tabletop with the Attack of the Swarm Pawn Collection, featuring more than 100 creature pawns for use with the Starfinder role-playing game or any tabletop science fantasy RPG. Printed on sturdy cardstock, each pawn presents a beautiful full-color image of an alien, NPC, or starship from the Attack of the Swarm campaign, including the Devouring Swarm, brave soldiers, beneficent mystics, and dozens of unique creatures. The Attack of the Swarm Pawn Collection, together with the creatures and characters from the Starfinder Alien Archive Pawn Box and Starfinder Core Rulebook Pawn Collection, provides pawns for nearly every Attack of the Swarm encounter. Each cardstock pawn slots into a size-appropriate plastic base from the Alien Archive Pawn Box, making the pawns easy to mix with traditional metal or plastic miniatures. With tons of distinct images, the Attack of the Swarm Pawn Collection brings to life the enemies and allies from all 6 adventures of the Attack of the Swarm Adventure Path. This carries an MSRP of $24.99. All of these are going to land in late April. Do not have an exact date just yet, but we are looking at late April. So Ronald Griffith is in chat. Good to see you, Ronald. So Ronald mentions that they enjoyed the best board and card games video and decided to get Tank Duel with the gift card they got for Christmas. Very cool. Very cool. I especially like pointing out that you can play Tank Duel with up to 8 players. You do want to try to make sure you got an even number of players. But yeah, you can play it with 8 players, and we have had a blast. We are very, very pleased. I was pleasantly surprised. I figured it was going to be a good game, but I didn't realize we were going to enjoy it as much as we did, and that it would be so easy to learn how to play. I mean, that's one of the things I thought was like, wow. I mean, granted, there's a few rules in there that takes you a little while to kind of wrap your head around. Not a lot. And it's kind of funny, in my review video, I skipped over something as I was kind of like playing out a few turns. It happens. Anyway, so A Gray Day says that they read Paizo is cutting health insurance to its staff. Yeah, you know what? that is the way of the world these days. And then another thing a lot of these companies like to do is they like to make sure they don't give everybody enough hours. Even if they offer healthcare, they make sure that they don't give them enough hours to qualify for healthcare. Yeah, it's pretty shitty. It really is. So Kabuki Kid says, yeah, Whole Foods did it. And they're like, what do you want? Bezos to take a pay cut or something? Yeah. Yeah, so that is, it's not very cool. So, let's see. Kabuki Kid says, I still have one of those giant battle mats to write on when using minis. So, I have, actually, so I'll jump in, take a break from the news real quick. So, I do appreciate the old school way of mapping. So, if I were playing and someone was, a game master in a fantasy, say, Dungeon Delve or something like that, I don't mind doing the mapping. As long as you give me approximate coordinates, dimensions and that, I'm good. These days, when you got kids who don't even know how to read a watch, can't tell time with hands on a clock, I'm not going to try to do that. So what I tend to do is I have them make, kind of map the dungeon like a flow chart. Like, here's the entrance, line, here's whatever this is. Oh, here's a room. So makes it much, much easier. And they still screw up, which is fine. I mean, that's not my problem, right? Because we're playing some old school fantasy role-playing games. But it's a lot easier for kids these days. Although, I got to admit, I do have a big flip mat. Not as big as the one they're talking about, the ancient one. I think it's from I want to say it's the Starfinder starter set. Or beginner box, I should say, beginner box. So anyway, yeah, thanks, Ronald. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. So I just uploaded it last night. I was trying to get that done on Christmas Eve, and not Christmas Eve, I should say New Year's Eve. And then things were out of sync. And well, actually, I shot all the video for both. I shot the video for the RPGs, and then I shot the video for the board and card games. And then, because what I tend to do is I'll shoot me, like, my opening and my close on my Lumix, my Panasonic camera. And then over at the table over here is where I've got my top-down camera where I shoot my Nikon for, like, reviews and unboxings and stuff like that. So, and then I piece them together. Well, unfortunately, they were overexposed, so everything looked like really washed out. I don't know why, but I fixed it when I reshot it. So anyway, alrighty. So Kabuki Kid says that they bought V Commandos for Christmas. I never ask for games; I just buy my own. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, I kind of do that. V Commandos. I'm not familiar with that. Who is that by? Huh. Interesting. So, all right, moving right along. Still got a little bit of role-playing game news. And there's a new setting book that is available for Savage Worlds in PDF. It's from GAMel Books. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Unfortunately, they don't have a website, which I find is really strange because they do a lot of Savage World books. Savage Worlds, plural, books. And I think they're like what they consider like an ace publisher. You'd think they'd have a website. But here's the dope on Clock and Dagger. I know I keep wanting to say cloak, but it's Clock and Dagger. Once, the world was ruled by immortals, godlike figures wielding immeasurable sorcery, building towers hundreds of miles tall, erecting strange monuments, and crafting wonderful devices. They have created the humans and tamed the wild cat people named Shellkins. Not sure where he got that name. Kind of sounds bizarre. Or Sheelakins? To serve them, but the half-human offspring of immortals rebelled. They defeated their immortal ancestors, except one, and took over their cities, where their descendants rule now as the aristocracy. But while the noble lords over vast domains, the poor get poorer, and sometimes they strike back, seizing gold, relics, and magical secrets of the first ones. This is not the time for heroes. It's time for professionals, thieves, con-artists, and rune explorers. Clock and Dagger is a Savage World setting set in the mysterious world of humans and Sheelakins. I'm going to say Sheelakins. That sounds a little better. Plundering the ruins of the immortals, wielding clock-punk gadgets, avoiding the fanatical paladins. The setting contains a whole lot of ideas to inspire you to run a heist-based campaign, explore the mysterious world, and develop your own guild using the achievement system. In the book, you'll find new edges and hindrances, 3 arcane backgrounds, a description of Urks, the City of Thieves, and a short outline campaign. This is an almost 100-page long Savage Worlds edition of a mini-setting, previously released on 8 pages for the Adventurers mini RPG. You can find this 94-page PDF is available right now at DriveThruRPG for $7.99. So pretty interesting, kind of cool, kind of different. Sounds a little different. It does sound a little Band of Blades-ish. So don't know, but it did catch my eye, and this is brand new. I want to say this just arrived on DriveThruRPG today, so it is a brand spanking new one. So let's see. V Commandos must be a video game. Aha. All right. Cool. All right. So moving right along. Here's something I thought kind of funny. Ultra Pro has a new series of their Dungeons and Dragons figurines of adorable power on the horizon. I've got the dope. It's no secret that Dungeons and Dragons is more popular than ever. What better way to share love of this newfound fandom than with adorable mascots? Roll initiative for the cutest little monster compendium you've ever encountered. Ultra Pro's figurines of adorable power will include 4 new monsters available for adoption in 2020. First, we've got the Mimic. Time to save versus cuteness. This one might be too adorable to resist. Add this deceptive cutie to your party if you dare. Mimic can take on many shapes. The iconic hungry chest full of teeth is most memorable. Go ahead and stick your hand inside. It'll be fine. Then there's the Flump. The Flump are jellyfish-like, lawful good creatures that are sensitive to psionic energy. They are also thoughtful and benevolent beings that float by means of an innate anti-gravity field and move about by using air jets as propulsion. It's actually farts. I think it's farts. That's how they move. But take care. They are helpless if flipped on their back. Fortunately, they misspelled their. Kind of weird. Then we've got the Beholder, or Gazer. I think they're calling it a Gazer here. The Gazer is thought to have been born from a beholder's fever dream. Okay? These creatures certainly resemble they misspelled their again, more formidable kin. While they're supposedly very difficult to tame, I'm sure that your adopted friend will be just fine. If you do get more than one, beware, for they are known to work together to team up against larger creatures. Yes, this does include you. Finally, there's the Gif. These powerful and majestic creatures fly the skyships of the Spelljammer realm and beyond. Resembling humanoid hippopotami, these brash beings possess a powerful strength and surprising grace. Though they have powerful tusk-filled jaws, GIF are predominantly herbivores. So don't fear bringing these fierce warriors into your home. These figurines of adorable power will arrive in the spring. Don't have an exact date just yet. They will carry an MSRP of $12.99 each. I do believe they're about 3 3/4 of an inch high, somewhere in that vicinity. They're not huge, but they're about yay, I believe. So, all right. So only lawful good creatures in the Fiend Folio, if I remember correctly. Gosh, it has been so long. Wow, that is just so long ago. Are we talking the original Fiend Folio? With that terrible artwork on the cover? Hated that artwork. Really, really did. All right, so people are talking about Joe Beef in Montreal. Must be a restaurant that is very difficult to get into. So, the only lawful good creature. There we go. Yeah, that sounds more like it. So I thought, if I remember right, Fiend's Folio had a lot of baddies in there. All right, so you may remember that I was sharing all the free Epic Games Store PC games that they were sharing during their holiday sale. I think the holiday sale still runs for a couple more days, but all those giveaways have ended, at least the daily ones. And now we actually have 3 free games. Crazy, right? Usually they'll do a couple of free games a week. Sometimes it's only one. Now we have 3. You can score these free games until January 9th. I've got the dope. And starting off, we've got Darksiders War Mastered Edition. Deceived by the forces of evil into prematurely bringing about the end of the world. Hate when that happens. War, the first horseman of the apocalypse, stands accused of breaking the sacred law by inciting a war between heaven and hell. In the slaughter that ensued, the demonic forces defeated the heavenly hosts and laid claim to the earth. Brought before the sacred Shard Council, War is indicted for his crimes and stripped of his powers. Dishonored and facing his own death, War is given the opportunity to return to Earth to search for the truth and punish those responsible. Hunted by a vengeful group of angels, War must take on the forces of hell, force uneasy alliances with the very demons he hunts, and journey across the ravaged remains of the Earth on his quest for vengeance and vindication. Then we've got Darksiders 2, the Definitive Edition. Not definitive, Definitive. Become the terrifying force which everything fears but nothing can escape. Like by the end of days, Death, the most feared of the legendary 4 horsemen, embarks on a quest to redeem his brother's name. Along the way, the horseman discovers that an ancient grudge may threaten all of creation. Death lives. Then finally, we have Steep, which is completely different. Defy and master the mountain alone or with friends on skis, wingsuits, snowboards, and paragliders. Record and share your best stunts. Ride your way. Conquer the world's most epic mountains on skis, wingsuits, snowboards, and paragliders. Said that. Live unforgettable moments with others. Ride solo or drop in next to other players to share thrilling, adrenaline-fueled rides. The mountain is yours to explore. Create your own path through a massive open world and share your best custom lines with friends. So, all 3 of these games are available right now. Darksiders and Darksiders 2 have gotten really good reviews. Steep, on the other hand, looks like it's supposed to just be okay. So, yes, and Kabuki Kid says, isn't Death supposed to be on a pale horse? I believe so. But the first image, the first box that we're showing, that isn't Death. That's supposed to be War. It's the second game that you're playing as Death. I don't know. I haven't played them. I just like to share free PC game stuff, because there were some really good releases And I believe next week we see For the King, which is I haven't played a lot of it. I have played a little bit of it. Is a pretty interesting kind of like strategic game that's pretty cool. So Dan from No Enemies here is rocking on out. So I will be wrapping up the show in just a little bit myself. Thanks for popping in, Dan, and enjoy releasing your show, which will air tomorrow usually. I will get back to shooting you some videos, Dan, so you can include them on your show. You still want them. It's just lately I wasn't sure what was going on as far as reviews and things like that. So anyway, do want to mention I did receive a box with some review items from my friends over at GMT Games. So tomorrow I will have a first look, do an unboxing and a first look at Nevsky. Put it out over on this side. It is the new series that is from Vokurunki, and it looks pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting, and I don't think it's super high complexity. Well, they say a 5 out of 9. And GMT is usually a little low, but this looks kind of interesting here. Very different. So we will get a first look at that. This video will be up tomorrow, so I will make sure to have that up probably early evening. Then also 1862. This box is really, really heavy. This is a new 18XX game from GMT. I don't know really anything about this outside the fact you can play up to 8 players. That's cool. I like the fact we've been seeing some games come out that will actually, allow you to have 6 to 8 players at the table, because it's getting to the point where almost everything we see come out is like 2 to 4, 2 to 4, 2 to 4. So very, very cool. This looks pretty interesting. And then Cataphract, which is their Great Battles of History. This is like volume 8. Yes, it is volume 8. So it's like, I believe it's, I think it's the Battles of Justinian. So we got Rome in here, obviously enough. So cool. I am not overly familiar with the Great Battles of History series. I think this is a second edition, to be honest. So cool beans. There we go. So we've got that. The Kabuki Kid mentions an 8-player 18XX sounds like it would be crazy long. I would think you probably have it shorter round or shorter or fewer options to perform in your rounds, or maybe even you're playing some aspects simultaneously. So yes, because I could imagine some games where you have a little bit of AP going on, a little analysis paralysis. I don't think I'd want to be sitting there with 8 players. Playing that would be like, oh my god. So that is pretty much it for tonight's show. One thing I do want to mention, I'm going to talk a little bit about this on Monday's show. So if you are watching now and you want to tune in, share your thoughts, I'm going to talk a little bit, not a lot. I'm not going to go off on some big rant or something. I do want to talk a little bit about kind of some of the pushback that I'm starting to really see a lot more of online from people who, and these are people like want to play role-playing games. I'm not talking board games and stuff like that. Which, yes, I understand the pricing is a little out of whack for a lot of people. But I am seeing more and more people who are kind of whining and complaining about they can't afford to play role-playing games. And how the pricing of role-playing games is just, it's not inclusive. And I kind of think to myself, excuse my French again, everybody, but where the fuck did that come from? And I'm going to talk a little bit about that because I'm starting to see just a little too much whining from people. And I I've said it before when I talk about like board games and that. I would love to drive a Lamborghini. Well, I just can't afford it. So I don't sit there whining and complaining about it online. So Melwinius Cyrano from York has popped in. I'm sure I mispronounced all of that. So yes, you're very welcome for the streams. Glad to see you pop in and catch it live. So a great day says, and we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this. Plenty of free and one-page RPGs out there, as well as Mothership. I really want to get one of my contributors to review Mothership, because I have heard really good things about it. It's amazing and super cheap. Yeah, you know what? Role-playing games are the best value. So we will talk about some things. So if you know people who are like, oh, role-playing games are too expensive, maybe I should watch Monday's show, because I'm gonna first of all slap them around a little bit, and then I'm gonna talk about all the great free or nearly free content that is out there. So yes, I understand it. If you want to play Dungeons and Dragons, they don't do PDFs. So you got to buy the books, but don't act like 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons is the only role-playing game out there, the only fantasy role-playing game out there, because it ain't. Anyway, so I'm not like gonna be like mad and crabby or anything like that. I just want to point out it's just a lot of misinformed people out there, or they're just lazy. And you know, I'm sorry you can't afford to buy these games. What can I tell you? I don't know what I can tell. All right, so basic fantasy role playing, not very expensive, right? Basic fantasy role playing is free. That one's free. Old School Essentials is a little. It's not pricey if you get like. If the Old School Essentials is pretty cool. Isn't that from like Necrotic Gnome? But they released it as like different books, which is cool, which is fine. But you can also get it as one PDF. So you want to get it as one PDF, which includes all the books together. So there you go. See, Iron Sworn's free. But yeah, basic fantasy role playing is absolutely free, as well as all their adventures and stuff like that, because my bastardized fantasy role-playing game that I run for the kids every once in a while, although we're going to do Call of Cthulhu very soon, it's got a little bit of basic fantasy role-play in it. So, all right. Anyway, oh my gosh, the Old School D&D Encyclopedia, that thing's huge. That is huge. I wonder how good the PDF is of that. I wonder, because I had heard, maybe I'm wrong, I heard it was just simply a scan. So sometimes with some of these older books that get released, the scans aren't that great. All right, and yes, you are right, Double K. Everything you need is in one volume. So, so Melwinius, yes, if you want the physical books, yes. Yeah, you're right. It's like, you're saying like €5. Yeah, I think it's like $5 here too. But the PDFs are absolutely free. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about PDFs. Get PDFs. There's free stuff out there. I'll talk about it on Monday. I'm giving away too much here, right? All right. So, anyway. So that's the first show for 2020. And thought I'd be a little more silly than I usually am. Just because that's how I am in real life. I tend to be, when I'm doing the show, I tend to be kind of a little more staid than I am in real life. So I figured, you know what? 2020, we're celebrating our 10th year of the gaming gang. So time to be a little goofy. All right. So yes, good point as well. Double K, groups can share books. That's right. You don't need to own anything, just Dungeon Master. So plus you got the SDRs out there, or SRDs, I should say, SRDs. We'll talk about this stuff on Monday. Hopefully you guys will show up. Guys and gals, I should say. So, because I know there are some women out there who watch the show. You just don't know it from their nicknames, their handles, their nicks in chat. All right. Anyway, So that's it for tonight's show. By all means, if you like the video, I don't know if you do or not, but if you do, give it a quick thumbs up. And of course, subscribe. Don't forget, if you do subscribe, ring that little bell, because it will not only notify you of when this stream goes live within about a minute, it'll also tell you when my standalone videos, such as my 2 favorite games of 2019 videos that just popped up yesterday. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody who hung out and chat on a Friday night, thank you so much. Always appreciate when folks hang out and chat with me. That way, I don't feel like a complete dope just talking into a camera. But if you watch after the fact on Memorex or any other digital device, that's very cool too. I appreciate that as well. So everybody, have a great weekend. Have a very safe weekend. Hopefully you get some gaming done. I've gotten some gaming in past few days, and hopefully I will get some in also on Sunday. I will be back on Monday. So, of course, until then, happy trails. Zoobadoo-badoo-badoo-boo-boo. Zoobadoo-badoo-badoo-boo. Zabba-dabba-dabba-dabba-bum. Zibba. Whoa, hey. I didn't realize that you were still here. Well, if that's the case, then allow me to share the following information with you that I only have 20 seconds to do. So let's all take a deep breath. So if you would like to subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel, please click right here. If you want to check out the latest episode of the Daily Dope, click right here. And if you'd like to check out a randomly selected standalone video, by all means, click right here. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and thanks for watching.